2024, it is the year I take control of my berry shrubs, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. For the last 3-4 years, I have been feeding the birds, but we're not going to do that anymore. I'm going to rig up some kind of system so that I get to keep all of the berries and they can have the suet cakes that I put out for them. You are looking at some of my raspberries. Here are some of my blueberries. There is a raspberry in that black pot there in the middle. And I need to drill some holes in those new containers because we're going to relocate the raspberries over here, keep them all together. And that's what we're doing here. You can see I'm filling the bottom with leaves, twigs, branches that are broken up real fine. I'm going to add in some native soil to help with moisture control and add some microbes into the pots. You can see it's going to be kind of tricky to dig these up. But first we're going to prune the raspberries before I relocate them into the new pots. I've got some fertilizers, I've got some compost going in, potting soil, new potting soil, and then I'm going to move the whole root ball over. Hopefully it goes okay. It did. And then I'm going to backfill with all the soil that was in the other container. You can see I brought some worms over with the roots, and here we go. I've got 2 of them relocated now, and then I had bought some bare root raspberry plants a couple weeks ago. We're going to get those planted in these pots as well. And now we've got a central location for all of my raspberry plants, and all we have to do now is get them just cleaned up a little bit. I want to put some bamboo sticks in there, about 6 foot tall sticks, and then I want to trellis the strongest raspberry canes up those sticks so that when we come out here to harvest, we're not having canes like, all over the ground. They're upright, and we're going to protect them with a bird netting as well. So this looks pretty stable for now. I have to go buy some of those bamboo sticks. We're going to move on and get the blueberries fertilized as well. So all of the raspberries got fertilized and trimmed up. Now the blueberries need to get fertilized. They don't need a lot of pruning, very sparingly. You can see they've got some nice pretty buds on there, some blossoms. And where are we going here? I did start to weed this area as well and put down some brown shredded hardwood for moisture control. You can see that's a fake strawberry, kind of hidden in my strawberry patch that I have in front of the blueberries. And let's see what I'm trying to show you here. I'm voicing over in case you guys couldn't tell. So I have 3 compact blueberry plants in the front of my deck. It's good to have a variety of different cultivars of plants in the same family. Like I have 2 different varieties of blueberry, no, 3 or 4. And then I have 2 different blackberries. One is just a patty cake, which is right next to that rose there on the deck. I don't even think I show it in this video, but I do have one baby cake blackberry, and then I've got 4 different varieties of raspberries. You can see that little bee over there. So now we're going to relocate 2 of the blueberry plants. There's 1 of each variety there, and I don't remember the names. Over here, these are going to be my bird blueberries. These are going to only be for the birds. They can have all of the blueberries from these plants if they want. I'm not going to protect them. All right, guys, it is like a week later. We got busy, different activities happening and things happening here with my gardening as well that took me away from completing the job. So I left off here. Oh no, I see a dead bee. Oh no. Do you see him? We had some really cold nights, but it didn't get below freezing, but close. He is dead, it looks like. That's horrible. So I left off here and I did fertilize the blueberries. Unfortunately, a couple days later, I realized Tonto or a raccoon, could have been either, dug up the fertilizer I had deeply buried right there next to this one. So I may have to refertilize him. But what I wanted to say before we go on with the video is that you can see I've got all these blossoms on the blueberries, and the blossoms are getting ready to fall off and start producing fruit. Here's an example. If I can zoom in and focus. Maybe I can't. Can you see that? So the little blueberries are going to start popping out and forming. And so right now is such a critical time. If we get a hard freeze below 28 degrees, we will lose all of these berries. So that is the tricky part of this time of year. There's another bee. You can try to cover them if it gets below 28. Professional growers, farmers, you know, they have other tricks up their sleeve they can try. Sometimes it doesn't help. The farther along in development the fruit is, the more susceptible they're going to be to a hard freeze. I know many years back our local berry farm lost their whole crop. Local blueberry farm. It got down pretty low, mid, low 20s. In early May, I think, late April, early May, they lost the entire crop. So, fingers crossed. We are getting down to like 33, and these guys should be perfectly fine. But if we get below 28, they could get some damage. So as soon as all of these blossoms and the bees are wrapping things up and the fruit is starting to pop, I will be covering these guys to prevent the birds from eating every single fruit because they love them so much, but I do too. And I would like to at least get one really nice harvest this year and see if my measures actually help or not. I am going to leave the blueberries over there for the birds. They get both of those plants. I'm not going to cover those, but I'm going to cover all of these blueberries. I'm going to cover these three because you can see they are just loaded with fruit. You see these are a little farther along. See the blueberries? Really excited. Usually this one produces first and the birds pick it clean first. So I'm going to have to come up with a real creative way to keep this area open but keep these plants covered. And there's Tonto laying on the strawberries. Tonto, you just love to be in the garden, don't you? Tonto is still sitting and watching. You can see that the raspberries are flushing out beautifully. They liked the location I put them in, I think, and they tolerated that moving, that root disturbance. So all I need to do now is go up to the store and buy some more of these big bamboo canes. Probably put about 5 or 6 in each pot. Then we're going to trellis the vine up. And if there's a lot of excess, I'll just cut off the top of those canes. So I want to keep them so I can reach up and pick. I don't want them super high. Plus, we're going to trellis this whole area with some kind of bird netting. So we're going to protect these 3 raspberry pots. We're going to protect all of those blueberries right there and all of those blueberries right over there. So this area is pretty stable. Looks like the cilantro is getting ready to bolt though. Okay, so now we're going to move back there to the blackberries, and I need to do it today because I've got some family members that want to have a blackberry patch. So I'm going to dig up some plants for them. We're going to prune, we're going to fertilize, and we're going to come up with a system to keep the birds out. So let's get started. So I really meant to do this job probably 3-4 weeks ago. Of course, time got away from me. But it actually makes it kind of easy to prune right now because you can really tell which canes are the ones from last year and which ones are also the canes from last year, but they will be the canes to produce fruit this year. So the vibrant green with all the new growth, you can see they're starting to bud up. These are going to be the ones to produce. The ones that produced last year, the brown canes, these are no good anymore. I'm going to cut those out. And we will also get new growth coming up for next year, like this one. This one, well, actually he has some kind of bud form, and actually this is last year's growth. You can tell because it's still got last year's leaves on there. This actually will produce this year. So I don't see a lot of new growth in this pot. These are all, looks like all producers for this year. This is a mess. It's a jungle. I think I'm just going to pause the video and then just show you the after, because this is probably going to take me 4 or 5 hours. No, I'm just joking. But yes, stopping and starting it probably will. Just trying to look for some new growth down in there to show you the example. But you can see there's a lot of brown. All the brown needs to get cut out. Wow, we're gonna have a nice blackberry harvest if I can keep the birds off. Okay, I'm gonna get started. Remember when I dug up that blackberry plant that was in my front flower bed? The one I said I should have never planted there? Well, the cuttings from that day are here. Not all of them. I only kept maybe, I don't know, 20, 25. You can see that some took and are gonna be beautiful plants to donate or sell, and some did not take. So I would say that was pretty good to get all these free plants just from cleaning up that one plant in the front. And then I've got all of this chocolate mint. I have so much chocolate mint, just don't even know what to do with it. So 26 in this container alone. I'm going to recycle that soil that has roots in it over in the blackberry patch area. And then there's probably about 5 more plants in this container. So that actually, I'm glad I saved some of those cuttings because this will really benefit several people. I've already been texting, but I'm going to get probably, I don't know, 10, 15 ready for the family that wants to start a blackberry patch. I'm actually getting an idea that what if I put a few plants over in the wooded area here, say 3 feet from the fence, give myself a little bit of a walkway behind the fence, and that way the deer can have their own supply of blackberries, so they won't be sticking their head over here to eat on my blackberry leaves. I think I'm going to do that. I've got a few maybe plants that didn't root as well. I think I'll put those over into the woods. I think that's a great idea. I'm trying to decide where I want to put the big planter of the blackberry vines. I was thinking at the far left here, but now I'm thinking since this kind of goes downward, maybe kind of in the middle, or maybe at the very end. But I do have plants kind of growing back in there, and then there is more shade to think about from that tree overhead. So I think I'll go right here where all these weeds are, and then to make the trellis, I'm going to use these big trellises. I have 2. I'm going to put one at each end, and then we're going to stretch that bird netting all the way across. But I need to get this cleaned up. You'll notice I'm moving kind of slow and hesitant. It is snake season now. They're out. We've seen several in the last few weeks. I've had a copperhead actually slither right through here a couple years ago. So I'm going to be cautious. They are hard to see. They blend in just perfectly with the leaves and the mulch and the bark. Alright, there's a bunch of brown canes back in there I need to go cut out. You don't really want to compost these because there is a borer that gets into blackberry canes, and I don't want them near this location, so I'll either bag them or take them really far away. I've been meaning to buy some snake-proof gloves for projects like this. Have not yet, but I wanted to show you the wild violets. You can actually make a beautiful vibrant tea with those, but I do not have enough. It takes a ton, so we're just gonna treat them as weeds for now, but they are pretty. You can see there's lots of dandelions for the bees. This is taking forever the way I'm doing it. I'm gonna go get some clamps, and we're gonna clamp all the vines to the fence so that I don't have to like climb under and work around. We'll just get them up out of the way, and then weed, put down fertilizer, put down cardboard, put down a new layer of mulch. But first we're gonna get those brown canes out, and then we'll do those steps. This was one of my best ideas of the day. It is helping so much. I'm able to rake the leaves, come over here and weed. Look what I found. Iris, that's poisonous to dogs. I'm going to remove that immediately. There's so much vinca that volunteers here. It just spreads. It's very invasive. I'm going to remove that. And then I've got some daylilies. Toxic to cats. I think they're okay for dogs, but there's not enough sun for them to bloom, so I'll relocate them. I think it's looking better already.
I used the edging tool and brought out the bed probably about 6 inches forward, and then you'll see over time I'm going to actually bring it out around the tree. I dug a hole to stick the pot down in so it would be more stable and not as tall, because I want it under my bird netting. You can see Tonto was in the way watching me the entire time. So I buried a bunch of the leaves. I relocated a bunch of the moss because I love moss in the yard. It's so pretty. And there's Tonto helping me out again. And you can see the progression. I'm just working my way down, all the way down in front of that tree. I keep chocolate mint back here for hopefully snake prevention. And here we go. This is where I'm going to end for today. See the big trellis there? And then there's one on the other side. My bird netting, which is 100 feet long, is going to go over top, and those trellises are going to support it. Here's a picture of the one I'm using. And also some other things to help prevent the birds. And I'm kind of showing you there where it's going to be. Those fake owls, they don't really work, but I have them. You can tie bird scare tape. You can buy that anywhere. You can feed the birds. And then pinwheels, supposedly, but none of it works for me so far, but I'm hopeful the bird netting is going to be the trick this summer. All right, guys, hope you're having a great gardening week. Talk to